enduring fear of Muslims, Islamophobia, as it were. We had yesterday Congresswoman Sally Kern, the Republican from Oklahoma, actually pushing back on this a little. She said, actually, homosexuality is more dangerous than Islam. Terrorism expert Charles Kurzman saying that since 9/11, there have been 33 deaths due to Muslim terrorists, but there have been 150,000 murders since 9/11. I would point out that 10,000 people died last year from lack of health insurance, not from Muslim terrorists. Pamela Geller has her own perspective on this. She is the founder, editor, and publisher of AtlasShrugs.com, the executive director of Stop Islamization of America, SIOA, the Freedom Defense Initiative, DFI, and the author of her latest book, Stop the Islamization, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that, of America, A Practical Guide to the Resistance, AtlasShrugs.com, her website, her Twitter account, at AtlasShrugs, and at Pamela Geller. Pamela Geller, welcome back to the program.
Welcome. Thank you for having me, Tom.
Sure. I don't get it. Frankly, I mean, I seriously don't get it. More people die from dog bites and lightning strikes than die from radical Islam in the United States. Pretty much every year except for 2001. And if you include the people who die from lack of health insurance, more people die from the lack of health insurance, which has been, basically brought to you by the Republican Party every year, even including the year of 2001, than from radical Islam. Shouldn't we be calling the Republicans terrorists?
Well, let me say that clearly your premise is false. And so I appreciate all of your erroneous deductions that you would make from such a false premise. And so I forgive you. But seriously, I'm not really joking. Actually, it's the ideology that I'm concerned with. And there have been hundreds of thousands of deaths since the attacks on 9/11. There have been close to 20,000 Islamic attacks across the world since the 9/11 attacks. And clearly there is a problem. There is an ideology that inspires jihad. Now, you want to compare one murder to another or one death to another? I cannot do that because every single death is a tragedy.
No, I'm asking, what is the threat to America? If there's this $42 million industry that you're a part of, and I acknowledge you don't get any money from it. You were an independently wealthy millionaire before you started.
But that's not true. So why don't you debate me on the facts and don't quote libelous or fallacious attacks? If you're so secure in your argument, just debate me on the facts.
Okay, well, here's the fact. I don't think that we should be afraid of Muslims in the United States, and I don't think that we should be afraid even of radical Muslims.
I don't think we should be afraid of Muslims, and I do not believe, as you obviously do, that all Muslims are jihadists. I expect people not to want to kill me. So I don't have to congratulate them on not killing me. But clearly, there is a problem of over a millennium, over 1,400 years of jihadi wars, land appropriations, cultural annihilations, and enslavements.
Are you talking about what we do to the Native Americans here in the United States?
Let me finish. I will let you speak. I held a rally yesterday. I had Sikhs. I had Hindus. Close to 800 million Hindus have been slaughtered under jihad. What I'm saying is that, yes, there is an authentic and pure Islam, who, according to internal documents that was entered into evidence in the Holy Land trial, their stated goal is to eliminate and destroy Western civilization from within. And yes, they are working here, and yes, many attacks have been thwarted. What would satisfy you if they got them off? Is that what you need? You need, like, how many people to die because we've been successful in thwarting, like, even the Times Square bomber. Have you been to Times Square on a Saturday night? I live in Manhattan. Do you know what it's like there?
There's still more people who died from lack of health insurance that year, even if this guy had been successful.
Why don't they go to the emergency room? You can get care at an emergency. You are never denied care. Ever.
If you walk into an emergency room and say, I got this pain in my abdomen, I'm not sure what it is, and you're not bleeding and you're not in horrible pain, and it might be, say, uterine cancer or colon cancer, they're going to send you away.
That is absolutely not true.
It absolutely is true. They will not do a colonoscopy in an emergency room.
Not only do I know that from my own personal experience of having gone to an emergency room for things where I'm not bleeding, but I happen to know that people that are actually not legal here in this country, when they go to an emergency room, they are immediately ushered through the system. I know this. I've seen it. I've seen the cards. They're given cards. They're told to come back for their mammograms. That's absolutely patently unjust.
And isn't this a horrible, horrible, expensive way to conduct anything? And as I said, 10,000 people, Americans a year die from lack of health insurance.
You want to talk about expensive? Adding layers of insurance and adding the government. When I was a kid, you went to the doctor, And frankly, what it should be is that everybody should have to have catastrophic. That I agree with. Even me. I mean, my health insurance, you say I'm independently wealthy. That's a slime and that's a smear because it's not true. I work from hand to mouth. It's patently untrue. My insurance for me and my family is catastrophic, meaning I spend upwards of $1,800 a month. Okay, I have no coverage unless something really, really bad happens. Why? Because it's the only one I can afford, and I can barely afford it because the deductible is so high. So what you're saying is
so we agree that we hate the for-profit insurance industry.
You're referring to have better health care than me. You see me pitching a fit?
But my point is, I understand, people wanting to make a living, promoting something. And I understand that there's this industry to make us afraid of Islam.
Again, you keep saying that. I am fighting for freedom, and I reject your ad hominem attacks. I'm a human rights activist fighting for freedom of speech, freedom of conscience, freedom of religion, and individual rights. You, sir, are a collectivist. I am an individualist. And frankly,
you don't know what I am, Pamela Geller. Speaking of ad hominems.
Let's agree to disagree on that.
So your book, Stop the Islam, pronounce it for me.
Stop the Islamization of America.
Islamization, thank you, of America.
Of America. And what I mean by that
why should we stop the Islamization of America?
Because we are a free and independent
because we are a Christian nation?
No.
Because we're a secular nation?
Separation of mosque and state, separation of church and state.
Okay, so let's agree that to end all of the programs, all the federal programs, state programs, and whatnot, based on faith-based initiatives.
Agreed.
Let's just do it. Okay. All right. We found something we can agree on.
100%.
And there should be no participation in government and religion. Now,
Agreed.
That said, if you go back and read Ben Franklin's autobiography, he talks about the reason why he left Massachusetts when he was 17 years old.
Right.
He was tired of seeing women hung and drowned for being witches.
Right.
You had radical Christianity in Massachusetts.
Here we go. Are you going to go back to the Crusades?
There was such a problem for the founders that there was a debate about whether Massachusetts would be allowed into the Union unless they cleaned up their radical Christianity. But we cleaned up radical Christianity, and I'm curious how you think we can best clean up radical Islam. Here in the United States, we cleaned up radical Christianity in Massachusetts by basically embracing them and saying, "Come be part of us." Stop killing women and come be part of us.
Non-Muslims being slaughtered, not one in the name of Jesus Christ, not one. You show me one radical Christian attack. This is a fallacious, again, a false argument. You're perpetrating lies. There is no radical Christianity.
You don't think that the people who have been murdering abortion doctors are radical Christians?
There's no compulsion in Jewish law. No compulsion. It's voluntary. The Sharia is not, and it subjugates non-Muslims.
Have you ever read the book of Joshua?
Jewish law has absolutely no pertinence or regulation.
No, genuine question, Pamela Geller. Have you ever read the book of Joshua?
What does that have to do with what's happening now?
You said that there's no compulsion. There's no God telling people to engage in warfare. I strongly recommend you read the book of Joshua.
Name someone that died in the name of Jesus Christ. Somebody that was slaughtered in the name of Jesus Christ, singing "Holy Jesus" and then beheading them. Name one. Hurry up!
Yeah.
I'll give you 10,000.
Dr. Geller, or not Geller. I'm sorry, that's your name. Dr. Tiller. Dr. George Tiller.
Some madman kills him. That's one.
That's one.